Okay, so let's show where we're at with no turning back. Where we got yesterday was that we had brought in just one of our enemies, which at the moment was a frog. And if you recall, in our scriptable objects up here under enemies, you can see that we have one called frog. Okay, we have the common, epic, legendary, rare, and uncommon, which are the attributes associated with them. We also updated all of the graphics so that the graphics are being brought in. Oh, look, see, so I have movements in here, but at the moment, my animations for the frogs for walking is just kind of like they're sliding. So we need to modify that, and I'll create an animation. But we actually have these things set up so that they can't step on top of each other, although it seems like they can go within the path of each other. So these are all behaviors that we can code in for each one of the individual enemies that we have in the game. Now, if I go in between levels, I think it's going to re-instantiate something. I'm not 100% sure what all this is about, but that's okay. Okay. So what I wanted to do then was, is the quality okay? Am I dropping frames? Looks like I got some errors going on here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start taking a look and cleaning this up a little bit. When I wanted to do my, I have a frog in here that was moving, right? Under enemy here. And this is the movement location script for what we're creating with them. The first thing that we wanted to do was we could make the animations for the frogs so that they're fun. So let's do that. So let me instantiate one of the frogs here. Get rid of this and change it to this one here. Okay, so what I wanted to do was I need to select my frog, which is under my prefabs. I have something here called a moving object prefab. Let's bring this one in. And if I looked and put a animation controller on it for my frog, which is up here under animations, enemies, we have one called enemy OAC. We're going to call this my frog OAC because it's different. And then we'll make a new folder here called frog. And on this one, we can now give this a frog here. Okay, so down idle, it's just chilling. I'm into that. Okay, so if it's jumping down, our animation for jump should be like a... Let me see. So we're going to get 1, 2... where's the animations that correlate to this thing? It's under my... tile skins. Here we go. And enemies here. So we have 3. It's going to need to look like that it's jumping. So it's going to go from... I wonder if I can move this so you guys can see it. I don't think so. I guess that'll work. So these 3. So we need to make it look like it's jumping. 1, 2, 3. And now it's going to hit the ground here. So then we'll just do like a... Oh, these 2 are the same. Yeah, so we get rid of that one. It'll just be like this. Okay. And then we can copy this so that I don't have to think about it too much. We can get rid of this one and just paste it in here. And it's actually going to be for this one left, which is sorry, it's up here. There we go. So we want to do all the way down, up, and then jumping, and then this one, and then this one. Okay, let's see what that looks like on these two. Did it not apply them or something? Let me try it again. But these ones are being applied on the... Yeah, that should be down. Well, I guess you need to physically move it in the frame too. Why is one of them getting placed there? Oh yeah, so it's doing it, but we need to change the animation so that the position is actually changing too. So if I looked at this frog again, and here you wanted to do this and change the position here so we can record on this thing. And here we want to leave it right where it's at, so that's 0.500, 0.500, and then we want to add a jump. And then here we need to go back down to 0. A little too long. A little slow. Still slow. No, it was better the other way. I think I like that. What did I ultimately depend 10 or something like that? Yeah. So let's go left, 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 this one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's try it. I mean, that looked kind of cute. It's hard to see it when it's going down, so let's do one where it's going right. Okay. We have to do up and that's it. Wait, where did the other one go? It's like it's missing a frame. Well, I mean, I could just make up for it, I guess. Oh, that's why. It's because it's trying to interpolate in between there. Two, three. Is my connection okay? All right, let's see. Well, they hop. It's like they should be skipping that first frame, though. I guess we could just delete this frame. Yeah. Hey, good morning, ThinkBot Labs. How you doing today? Thanks for coming back, checking it out. How goes it? We got some cute jumping animations, I think. I don't want it to... I want to make sure that it finishes that animation before the jump ends. So is there a way to do that within the animator on this one? Hey, it's moving right along. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm kind of into that. Okay. I wonder why we're getting an extra one down there every time. That's kind of interesting, right? Oh, that's because of the one that's in the scene. Derp. that you're working with. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's bring in another enemy just to see. Which one do we want to bring in? We can bring in a dog. So I have something that's like a dog 0. And then a dog 1, and then dog 2. Okay. These ones, I can just duplicate this. I guess it would have been easier just to do this, huh? And we're going to say that this one is a dog. And we're going to say that it's called dog OAC. And we'll need to make sure that we have the correct ones in here. Just lessons learned. Okay. And now if I look at my fonts here, oh, I don't need that under resources because you turn these into scriptable objects already. Oh, I don't think this is what you meant to do at all. This was a good catch. Down here, it's your dog is just this enemy here, so we can duplicate the scriptable object for it. And this is what I meant to do. We'll call this dog. Okay, this one takes up one cell. One cell. It's active. What's the skin for it? If I look at my skins for enemies under my enemy 1, the skin is this one. Yeah, this is it. So it's this skin. Whoops. Because the dog does, okay, this is the original one. So the easiest way to do this would be like this. Oh, monster, and we're doing the original monsters number 1, and my skin index is 0. My portrait here, do I have a portrait of a dog? I thought I had one in here. Okay, so this is something I need to do. Let me go get that. I need to go to my assets here. This one. Okay. And what I'm looking for is the one that looks like the dog. I have this one. So I have a wolf. So let's do this one and this one to start. So this one we're going to say that this is my O-W-O-L-F, like that. And this one will be my O-Wolf-Man. And so let me open this up here so I can say that we take this and we go that this one is we duplicate it. And this one's going to be called the Blue Wolf-Man. We need to duplicate this and make a green wolf. We need to duplicate this and make a gray wolf. Or I'm sorry, it's a last wolf. And then do that again for the red. And then also for the yellow. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this skin 1, zoom in, move that so I split screen. Can I do that in this? I thought I could. I guess not. Well, that'll work. Okay, so now what I want to do is select some of these colors on this. This is the original wolf. If I look back here, I wanted to get the blue wolf. Okay, and now what I can do is just now, instead of having any tolerance on this, and we want to make it contiguous. Well, sorry, we don't want it contiguous. Can you guys see the wolf? How's that? Is that better? Okay, next color. That was easy. Okay. Next one. We need to open up the green monster pack here. And then also the green wolf. Okay, and then also this one. And then we need to do this last one. We only have to open these other ones once, because then I'll have them already open. And last just represents the legendary. So when you see one, just think about that. I think I need to, at the moment, make them more rare. Even though they're at 99%, I think that depending on the rare, legendary seems to be higher than that by a lot. Because I've gotten them bunches of times, and I don't run it as much as maybe I do. This one's a red one. I will be right. Oops. There. And then let's open this last set here. These are my favorite colored ones. I didn't mean to do that. It's right here. And I just wanted to check, because I thought I gave all of these red eyes. Oh, just one set of them. Interesting. All right. So I guess that means that you need to have 2 of these. Oh no, because that's right. We'll just duplicate this one without that. Okay, so the ones that I just import, let's make sure that these are the right type. If I look at the inspector on these, I guess if I put the inspector here and then I move these 2 down real quick, then I can bring the inspector across like that. And then we can bring the game panel down and the animation panel down. And now we're right back to where we were. And the sprite panel. Okay, so this is the wolf man. And the ones that we were checking out were these ones. And at the moment I'm saying that these are single sprites, okay? They're tight, they are point, and they are clamped. It's like that, I guess, is fine. And if you compare, that looks fine. Okay. So you were working up here on the dog. I guess we're changing this to be called a wolf now. Okay, on him, he needs an animator type. Now, frog is a default one, but this is just going to be called a default. And we're just going to say that this is a default OAC. And it needs to make sure we have a 1, an idle, a left idle, a right idle, an up, and an up idle. Okay. Let's make a character here. So you have the prefab for that over here. And you're going to change the override animation controller on it, because I need to change the sprites on this one to make it, when these things are walking, that it just walks. So let me pick any other character in here under resources. So we'll take these and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess it's just these 3. And then we need the one in the middle again. Yeah. Okay. The next one is left. I guess you should also just go ahead and do the down here. And these were all set at what, 6? Okay, then we're going to do my left idle. And this will probably be the last set of these that we have to make because everything else will hot swap out. Because I mean, unless you're anything unique like the frog, but how many things are going to jump? Don't mess that up. That needs to be a 6. Oops, this was still supposed to be another left. Well, you could just take this since it's done right, and we could just move it to this one. And then also this one. And we can actually just remove the position properties on this one completely. Let's get the up. Oops. This is crap. 6. Okay, this should be up and up. So we have down, down, left, left, up, up, and right, and right. Okay. We can get rid of this guy. And so up here where we were working on our wolf, your skin type here was that one with 0 was your skin portrait. I haven't decided which one the rarities are going to be of these things. Oh, yes, I have. So this one is called common, and its placement will be random. It'd be 2 squares away. It's an enemy. I have information here regarding its movement because it has on it what we're calling a movement script. So this is wrong. We need to go create a new script. So in here, we're going to duplicate my frog script. And I'm going to call this a wolf. So this one has the same thing, but here where we're doing our get next move calculated, you have this on here as a base. So get next move position calculated, and we'll just take what we currently have, this garbage, and we'll actually just look at it real quick and rework it. So here we have an override. So what am I saying here? I'm creating a new waypoint, and I'm saying that if I'm evaluating if that target position should be up or down. So this is selecting a random position for a target position. And then evaluate if this position is valid and calculate next point. So this is going to determine direction. And then you're looking and you're running a check to see you're calculating the next movement, calculate the next target based on individual properties. And then here, you're looking to see if you have a check. So you're evaluating in a line, accentuating here, right? Evaluate each square in the line to see if move is complete. So here you're going to get your map tile conflicts. And now if any of these have a tile set type which are equal to a door or a wall, we're going to say, that doesn't work, and we're done. Then we're going to get the world objects here, and if any of them are not equal to a type of item, then you want to break as well. So that means that that's as far as you can go to the left. I mean, I kind of like the movement for this one, the way that it is. And then you're setting the next waypoint. So you didn't change anything, did you? Let me think for just a minute. I think it would be a mistake to not create them as individual scripts. So let me move this then to my base enemy. Actually, we can even bring that one more down to the base NPC. Just dump it in here too. Like that. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to get rid of these because this wasn't right anymore. We're going to create a new enemy here called a wolf. And we're going to say wolf. We'll duplicate it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one will be my wolf. This one will be a really? G wolf. A yellow wolf. A red wolf. A last wolf. And then a oops. Wolf common, wolf epic, wolf legendary, wolf, epic, rare, legendary, common, uncommon, wolf, rare. And we'll just call this one wolf. Okay, so here we go. This thing is a type of moving object. Takes 1, 1, 1, 1. Its skin here is my base monsters 1. Skin index is 0. Its portrait would be that wolf. And my rarity would be, okay, so blue we set as uncommon. So it's not uncommon in this case because this one needs to be my O monsters, like that. And it's the first one. Placement will be random. It's common, and it's a enemy. Its frequency move relative to the player will be 1, and it gets 1 move, and it only moves 1, and it doesn't skip any. It needs an animator, and we can say that we want the default. And my enemy type will be dog. Now let me go change that. Okay, and my number of damage points will be like 5. And we'll say that the number of damage points that a base frog does is like 2. And it moves every 3 turns relative. Moves 1, and it gets to move 3. So my uncommon now would be the blue one. Like that. And this one's a moving object. It has a blue wolf for it. This one needed to be my wolf. Sorry I had to leave yesterday. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that, Goggles. You want me to turn them on for you? I can turn them on if you want. Thank you for sending me those, by the way. Okay. Let me know if you want me to flip on the tunes. Original, active, 0, number square, 0, relative, 0, 0. That one's fine. So this one was a blue one. Its common is a uncommon. We're going to say that it's random. It's going to be 2 squares from other things. We'll say it's an enemy. It moves relative to the player 1. It gets to move 1 turn. My number of moves to skip are 0. It gets 1 move, and we're going to say that it goes four, 3, 4. So then this one would be 5, 6, 5, and then 6. So this one will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then 3. For the number of damage points that we're doing. Okay. But the wolf moves relative to the player every turn. like that. We could give all of these the same animator type of default, and the type here of the wolf. Hey there, Jotun. How are you doing? Welcome back. It's good to see you. Oops, we forgot to change that these are of type of enemy. Okay. Now I can set the individual ones. So this one's going to be the original. This one was going to be my common one. Common is what? Green? I guess we want to change that for this one. It makes more sense for a wolf to be that the common color would be gray, right? Or the original one, and then the second one would be a gray one. So that would be a last wolf. Okay, that makes sense. And so now the next one we want to do would be the uncommon, which would be probably a red wolf. And then the next one would be an epic. I'm sorry, a rare. We could do that as the blue one. Like that. And then the last one here will be a epic. We could do that one as a green one. And then the last one here would be a legendary, which is a yellow one in this case. Baby, and let it be. Okay, so that's that. Now you want to create a new, what was it called? Under world objects here, you have something here called enemy world objects. A grid object frog, what? This is an enemy world object. And you're passing in this database assets here. Now I wonder why you have it set like this, where you're specifying both. So the grid object is the Isn't grid object just always a protected? Now before I commit that, I'm going to commit to my GitHub real quick. All right. Now we're going to do this again as a protected. This way it doesn't have to confuse me, because you're always calling setGridObject somewhere. Now let's make sure that everything works before you go any further. At least you'll be able to check to see all the places that it failed. And so that's because you have grid object exposed here, but then also you want to have it exposed down here as a public grid object. Get your grid object. Little cheater trick there. Okay, that should be better now. So now your enemy world object here, we'll need another data set in here for it. So here, we'll just duplicate this one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this one out into here. So we can duplicate this. This one will be called wolf. Or is it? Isn't it with a LVS? Isn't that wolves? Oh, English. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So we'll change this here. And now I need to make a new database assets here. We're going to duplicate this script. And I'm going to call this one database assets enemies. And all this one's going to do is this. Extend it. And it's going to include a enemy type. And so that means that now I can create a new scriptable object in here. I wonder if I can just take this and extend it. It's not going to let me. So I should be able to create a new database assets enemies here called wolves. And now we can say that this is a moving database type. Fascinating. And we're going to say that this one contains what? Enemies. And it's called wolf. Let's get rid of this one here. I'm going to duplicate it for frogs. Like that. And then if we look down here at my enemy world object, I get to specify that this one's going to be, let's say, frogs. Let's do wolves this time. So we could say that this one's fine, and then this is going to be enemy world object. Let's just duplicate it, and I'm going to have to nest this another one, I'm sure. And this one we can also say is interior, and we're going to add a wolves to it. Like that. And those are being contained in the ultimate database, which is on my global manager here called world objects. Here, enemy world object. Interesting. So this should actually be a yeah, so you're going to have to add one more because this thing needs to say that. But you're really close. It'll work for now. So here on the global manager, let's make sure that world objects here includes enemy wolves. See, we don't want to bloat this one out. So in your base map, you're creating this enemy here. And you're saying that you want to get frog. So let's just rinse and repeat this for wolves. And then we can look at the number. And we'll drop that. Just a second. Oh, you're only looking at the first one here. So it's not first, it's going to be a where. So you're getting all of these. So it's going to be a for each var asset in database assets. Like this. So if my asset database type, gosh, is equal to this as a world object, then var world objects equals asset dot object scriptables dot of type world object to list. Okay, and then our enemies here. So now you're saying for each sub-asset and asset, I guess it's world objects. Now you're going to say that this one is your world object. And we'll call this a sub-asset. Let's try that. So if its asset type is a type of world object, so hold on here. Then you want to get each one of these as types world objects of type world object enemy. So here, I'm going to save a little bit of code here, and I think I can do like a for each var sub-asset in world object dot grid objects dot objects scriptable dot of type base enemy if my sub-asset dot enemy type is equal to my enemy type, then you're going to add this in here. Let's try attaching that and try it again. So we have two world objects enemies, one which is a enemy wolves and one which is frogs. So for each one of them, we want to get each one of the sub-assets, and if our enemy type is the same, it is. We got that one. So the next world object is First off, we can pause this. Get rid of that, because that worked here. So back here in base map, oh, it's right here. When you're instantiating a wolf, you need to create an instance here of a wolf. You're going to set your transform here, your base map, and then your enemy movement, and then you're going to pass this in, that. Try that again. Hey, Mayo GFX. This may be an irrelevant question, but if you did, I was wondering, where did you learn data structures and algorithms from for C#? I came from doing data first, so I started with SQL, and then kind of running reports. But then if you wanted to take C# and connect it to a database, Entity Framework is a really, really great object relational database. Bob Tabber on Microsoft Virtual Academy, he's a great resource. Yeah, and then also the Unity tutorials. Okay, so there, now it made a wolf. And you can see that it is in fact sprite swapping because we have our animation controller in there with a blue one. Okay. So let's fix this here. You need to have another database down here called your enemies. And we'll create a new database type here called a database asset. And we're going to say that this is my enemies world objects. And we can change this one now to be what? We're going to say that this is now called a enemy world object enemy travel worlds 0 to 1, something like that. World object enemy underscore palace underscore 0-1. Okay, so this one is going to be a forest. This one here will be a palace. Its world minimum will be, I think you have something in here for a, like without, we'll say 1 and 1. And so now if you look at this one, you need to make sure that this contains these two. It does. But we're replacing that with this enemies world objects, and then we're dropping this by 1. So that means that this, where we're getting our enemy here, here, we just need to go one more layer. So we're going to get this database here of type world object. Where this type is going to be enemies. So we want to get for each asset in my database assets, if first one is equal to a world object, which is this one, we're good. Then we want to get all of the types of world object enemies. No, that's not right. We want to get equals asset dot objects scriptable dot of type. No, database assets dot where my s is equal to enemies. And then you're going to get out of those hold on. And this needs to be a singular default. Droton says, every time you snap, I have to think myself what you might be listening to. I think it's the same station I was listening to yesterday. All right, let's build it and try again. And if we looked at my two asset types, that worked. Okay, good. We can get rid of this. And now I need to check to see when I get my type, it's going to be enemy type. Now that's not actually correct. What it's going to be is a world level, so an integer. Let's see, it's an integer. Which is going to be your world index, which is part of this map. And then it's also going to be so it could just be this. So for each one of these, you want to get here, if my, now you are looking at this individual sub-asset type. Strange. Okay. So what you're looking at here is your base enemy here. but you're actually looking at your next layer here. It retrieves this types of world enemies. For each world object, if my world object dot world minimum is greater than or equal to my world dot index and my world object dot world maximum is less than or equal to my world dot world index and my world object dot map type is equal to world map type. Then you're going to add one of these. Var subasset equals a world object dot just a second here. So what we want to do is we want to say var random index equals a random dot range from 0 to my world object dot grid objects dot object scriptable dot of type hold on, yeah, of type base enemy dot length or count. So here you could do like this: var enemies to choose from are equal to this. So what you want to do is var enemy chosen equals your enemies to choose from of my 0 to my enemies to choose from dot count. And then you can just do this. This needs to be a to list. This needs to be an enemy chosen. And this needs to be a random dot range from that to that. And then you can get rid. Is there a way to enable two references? Is there a way to enable the two references? Oh, the stuff above the methods? Yeah, that's a pro feature. All right, let's try that again. Now this one, for my numbers in the map, you want to get your database type here of your, like that. So now I don't care what type it is, as long as it matches. So we want to look at my palace and forest 1 and 1. So, okay, let's see what happens here. It was unhappy with me for here, so let's try to get one here and see what happens. iPuni CA. You must be from California as well. Do you have any book recommendations for learning C++? Thinking about getting the books written by Bjorn Stolstrup. No, I didn't use books for learning, unfortunately. So I don't have any recommendations. I apologize that I have one on the shelf, but I haven't looked at it for so long. So next layer here, retrieved two. We're going to get my world enemies here. Now for each one of these, we want to, for my world index, so we didn't choose one. We didn't choose one. Oh. Right here. So if enemy does not equal to null, then you want to run this. And there they are. Now they're currently not moving, which is interesting. And they're not being, well, I guess they are moving, even though it doesn't look like it. So that's interesting. They're moving because it's... I mean, my scripts are calculating the moving even though they're not, which is interesting. But if we went to the next one, and there we go. And this is probably going to fail. No. We're okay. So what I need to do right now is I got to take a break. I'll be back here in like 12 to 15 minutes. I'll put it up on the clock. If you have any questions in the meantime, put them in the channel. I'll be right around the corner. And yeah, I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Thanks so much.